Fnatic bunker, where later we will be announcing the new League of Legends squad for Fnatic. But I am joined on the couch by two fantastic gentlemen. We have Sam and Patrick. Now, Sam is obviously the founder and owner of Fnatic, and Patrick, well, the CGO and ex-CSGO player, should I introduce you as? Well, yeah, CS to be specific. And so guys, talk to me a little bit about the bunker itself. I mean, for those that have never been here, never seen it, what is the bunker exactly?
Well, firstly, say hello to the crowd. Hey guys. It's wonderful to be in a place where we can host this, which is ours. I guess what we're trying to do is effectively esports is often portrayed as this kind of underground thing. It's not really cool.
That's why we call it bunker.
Yeah, and I guess with bunker we had this opportunity where it's like, let's take esports to the coolest street in London. Let's show off what it's all about. Let's bring live streamers in. Let's bring our team in. Let's actually sell other teams' jerseys, which we do here thanks to ESL. And actually show esports for what it is, which is this cool underground movement, which is actually much bigger than people really expect.
And what kind of events do you have planned here? Is there anything in the future? Like, would you ever bring maybe a pre-LAN here or anything like that? What is the future of Fnatic Bunker?
I mean, live shows, like...
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be restricted to London as a venue. We can, set this up globally, but obviously this is a starting point. It's just literally a stone throw away from our headquarters, which is, here in Shoreditch, London. But super excited. We're obviously new to this concept, but I think we're doing quite well so far.
Yeah, I mean, so just to give you an idea of what's in the space right now, we have a Vive station, which we're actually set up in right now, which is with HTC. It's kind of this big orange square, which is awesome, and these orange curtains. We have, you can buy ProWear here. You can test out our new headphones, the Dual, which is a sort of lifestyle and gaming headset. We've got some of our latest apparel, which I guess some of us will be wearing tonight. But also, the main event is going to be things like the massive projector. So we have this big screen which we're going to be using to broadcast tournaments like the Boston Major, the up-and-coming Overwatch tournament this weekend, and a load of other tournaments. Thanks to ViewSonic, who's provided the projector there. And we also have a streaming area. So we've had like Cool Life Gaming. I don't know if you guys watched that Fnatic rap from a couple of years ago. It was like a Spanish rap. It had like 2 million views. He was in here. He did a great stream for a couple of days. So that's the type of things that we're going to be doing here.
Wow, that sounds pretty great to me.
I think we didn't mention how long you're going to run it to. I think it's like early January next year. So if you're near London or you want to fly over here at any time, just pop in. 11 to 7 every day.
Yeah,
us, right? Yeah.
And there's a bar here which is not kind of it's basically like we're going to run events where we're going to allow people to come along and invite only. So hopefully there will be some boot camps here. So Overwatch is in London right now and our whole Overwatch squad. So it's super fun. Yeah.
And what's it like for you? Obviously, we will be announcing the new League of Legends squad today.
Yeah.
I mean, you oversee all of this. Is this like where you shine as Fnatic, where you can get these exciting moments going for the team?
I mean, Fnatic's a big team. We've got amazing people like Patrick, like Walter, all running the whole company. So it's like, this is very much a team effort, and we're trying to do as much as we can to take this sport, this movement into the mainstream throughout the world, really. So London's easy for us right now, and it's close to home, but it's definitely not going to stop there, and we're going to do some cool stuff. And yeah, we're all super excited, I think. So, I'm sure these guys are just waiting for the LoL team. So,
let's shut up.
Yeah, let's shut the hell up, right?
Well, yeah, so we can move on to the LoL team, obviously, eventually. The thing is that I want to ask you guys a little bit is about your background. I mean, what kind of games do you play now? Obviously, you used to play Counter-Strike yourself, but what do you find yourself playing these days?
Well, actually not too much Counter-Strike, but Overwatch is trending. The amount of hours I put in that should actually make me pro, but I'm an old man these days, so it's tough. But yeah, we try obviously to stay in touch with the games of today and tomorrow, I suppose. It's important for us in terms of our communication and operation as a whole, that we understand the community, our players, and the ways those games are played. Diversity has always been key for us. We obviously focus on League of Legends today in this announcement, but we do Overwatch, of course, Dota, CSGO, other games as well. So yeah, obviously we are gamers. We start as gamers. I mean, Sam here, a horrible Quake player, but
whatever.
With a lot of passion, starting Fnatic in 2004. I coming in later on, of course, as a CS player. We've been successful, Unreal Tournament, starting out with Quake and so forth, and obviously transited into the modern esport titles of today.
Yeah.
League of Legends is obviously our core focus alongside CSGO and Dota and other games, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I play Overwatch, if that was the
everyone
question.
plays Overwatch nowadays.
I mean,
FYI.
yeah, FYI, you know, like if you want to come play with me, like
Done.
I'm a really bad
bunker.
tracer and reaper, but you can come to the bunker. We can
I'll add you later.
dash out.
We'll get that done.
Yeah.
So that's the bunker.
Battle tag Patrick Carsatamon.
So for you guys at home, that is the bunker. We do have a short video which we'll show you in a second about the bunker itself. The Facebook stream will be ending, so make sure you go over to twitch.tv/Fnatic, where you can continue watching the stream and where we'll have the LOL announcement team. But for now, let's take a short video.
Just a little break, just a little comment. Yeah, please, we're actually shutting down the Facebook, so if you are watching this, we love Facebook, we love you guys on there. We're going to be moving over to Twitch, so get onto twitch.com/Fnatic to find us. Twitch.tv.
Twitch.tv, yeah.
Twitch.tv. Don't go to twitch.com, and probably still will work. I mean, let's be honest.
The redirect will probably get you. But yes, so that's where you've got to go, twitch.tv/Fnatic. But here is a short video about the bunker here that you're seeing today. Welcome back to Fnatic Live here at the Fnatic Bunker, where I'm joined by Finley, Nico, and Patrick. Now, Nico is the coach of the LoL squad. Obviously, we've already met Patrick earlier. And you, my friend, well, you've got a big involvement as well as the team manager. And before we get into the new LCS squad, obviously, I believe that you have a challenger squad as well, you guys, that you have announced today.
That's true, yeah. I think Nico can probably talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so obviously we've been talking a lot about our 10-man roster project, where we wanted to have viable backups for our main squad in case either stuff happens or in case we weren't happy with the performance or the attitude or anything like this with our main squad. So what we ended up doing was creating another team actually, and they're going to try and qualify to Challenge Series, which we have strong faith they will actually do. And we've put on a coach to them, Cubes. And should we say the names?
Yeah,
Okay.
so just list off the roster, I guess.
Yeah, so previous Fnatic players that are staying with us and going through this project is Kikis and Kai. We have a lot of faith in both of them, and they're sort of be captaining this project together.
Well, Kikis is a LCS champion, right, with G2, so...
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Pretty big accolade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What we didn't quite mention as well is the team will eventually migrate over to Berlin as well. So we are setting up a office, which is going to be literally across the street of our current gaming house, which allows us to have, in-house practices, learn from each other, rotate rosters and whatnot. I mean, in the immediate future, obviously, each team, CS and LCS, have their own, issues in terms of like getting together and starting prepare for the respective qualifiers and LCS. But yeah, the idea is to work with them in parallel and tangent to ensure a creative, competitive environment, which has been, I would say, a little bit of an issue before in Western League of Legends, where it's like people can quite easily get complacent and you lack options in mid-season to swap players as much as you would like to, right? Like any other sport, basically. So yeah, that's basically one of the reasonings we're doing this.
So even in our trial process for the last month or so, we've been basically scrimming the potential challenger players with the potential main players, and then we get a very good idea of who is better and who deserves on the main roster, who deserves to be on the challenger roster, who's really good, who we want to keep, this kind of thing. And from that already, we've already seen that the challenger roster is already really good because they've been playing against the LCS players for like a month already. So I think in practice already the CS team is beating some top tier teams, and they've only been around for like a month, right? But the list of the full roster, it's Kikis, Broxer, Niski, Mr. Morales, and Clyde. So it's a pretty solid roster, I would say.
Yeah, like in the end, creating two competitive rosters creates a lot of interesting opportunities for the team, as we're gonna have all 10 players plus their coach in Berlin with us.
And I just want to say that's the challenger roster, right?
Yeah,
yes.
it's the challenger roster, but it creates a lot of interesting opportunities in the fact that we can actually do more in-houses. Like we can create our own environment of practice where no other teams gets access to it, and we can actually test out more strategies, try to find ourselves more for both teams and push each other.
Exactly. And just to touch on that, they have their own coach as well, who is Cubes, who worked with the Cloud9 challenger roster, right, who just made it to LCS. So he's going to bring a lot of knowledge about their run and what they did to get LCS. They had a very similar roster in the fact they had a lot of veterans and a lot of star players. So we're really hoping he's going to sort of bring the same sort of thing to our challenger team.
Okay, so moving away from the Challenger squad and to the reason why half the people are tuning in today, the actual LCS squad. Obviously, Reckless is the main player. He's the normal player that's on the squad, and you've built that around him. How much did you work with him when you were building this squad? I mean, to either Nico or yourself.
So I think as soon as we failed the gauntlet run, like this is 3 months ago or something like this, we already started thinking about rosters. We already started planning meetings we were going to have. We already, on the day we lost the gauntlet, had people in mind for both rosters in the project we wanted to do towards next year. And obviously we've been bouncing a lot of ideas off of Reckless, and he's been a part of the trialing process the whole run. Like, we've never looked at any other options. We were very committed to staying with Reckless. And yeah, I think this time around, we've actually spent a lot of time on building the roster. And
yeah, we've had a lot of time, and so has Martin. He's been a big part of the process. So all in all, we're really happy with the team that we have here.
What would you say, Nico, your personal goals are for the next year? Like, what do you want the team to really achieve?
Like, good international performance, I would say. Like, more than just performing in Europe. Like, for me, it doesn't matter if, in the end, in Summer Split, if we're the first or second or third seed going into Worlds, but it just matters that we get there and we can have a good performance. It's the same with if there's other opportunities to go to international events, whether it's an IEM, whether it's MSI, whether it's new stuff that I might come up with. I want to go to the international events, and all of the players feel the same about this. It's more about fighting the other regions and having international exposure than fighting within Europe. But obviously we want to do well in Europe as well. It's just given in a way.
Patrick,
just another thing to add here, right? So we spoke about 10-man roster, which is one of the differences going in between 2016 and 2017. Another thing is that we are contracting the new players of ours on multi-year contracts. Everyone coming into this project thinks long term. We appreciate, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of fitting to do with the new office, teaming up with the second lineup, CS lineup. So it's a lot of trial and error, but the end goal is obviously, as Nico just mentioned, that's to compete internationally. If you can, on the road and on the run, win, splits, first split and second split, and go to MSI and whatnot, that's great. But in the end of the day, it's very much about Worlds, and being in the frontier, representing the Western League of Legends community, which we've done successfully in the past. 2016 is obviously, a big jump down, if you may, from where we were. Yeah, a bit of dip is probably the right word, thanks. We have very high goals and long-term goals. I want to emphasize on that. I think LCS, more than ever, will be super competitive. You have so many great players out there. There's so many organizations that are ramping up their efforts. With PSG coming in, Schalke as well in Challenger. It's just like, the stakes are higher, basically. And hence why we're thinking a little bit outside of the box. We're taking our time. Now we have what we think is a very viable roster, or actually two rosters, and a really solid team management. You touched earlier on Reckless in terms of involvement from players. Yeah, we had identified the core in our team, the players that have been with us for a great while, and kind of building this puzzle, we take input from everyone. This is not just something we sit in a boardroom here in London and drink coffee or tea, I guess, and you say, okay, these players is what we want. We obviously try out, we talk to the team management, we have the players involved in the process. Super happy, super excited. We know we have a lot of work in front of us, but I think we've done our homework. One of very few benefits of crashing out early is the time you get preparing for the next year.
And that's something I can say is we tried out a lot of top-tier free agents in EU, pretty much all of them. And out of all the people that we tried, the ones that we have here now are the ones that we feel perform the best and synergize the best with the team that we're building. So we've had opportunities, right, to get all the players that we wanted, and we got all of them. So we're pretty happy about that.
All right, brilliant. Well, we've heard from the coaches, we've heard from the management, but of course we need to actually find out about those players sooner than later. So we will go for a short break, but first we're going to take a look at a short video about Patrick himself.
When I was standing kind of like a crossroad between going into university studies or starting work in my hometown, whatever, I got this offer from Fnatic, and I thought I can do this for 1 year at least and try it out. I started around 96 with some of the early esports titles such as Quake. Eventually moved into Counter-Strike, and that was also the time when I stopped with sports, again in favor of esports. But obviously at that point of time, it was not at all professional. It was not any money whatsoever involved. The games were not really designed for competitive mode. It was like kind of a hacking in order to get them up and running and competing against each other. Over time, esports as a business and industry started to grow. We saw teams like Fnatic, we saw ESL tournament organizers pop up. And we are obviously on a 24/7 basis from a team management perspective, trying to fulfill everything we can in order to help the players to realize their dreams under our wings.
Welcome back everyone to Fnatic Live here at the Fnatic Bunker, where we can finally start to find out the new League of Legends roster. I am joined by, of course, the AD carry of the team. It is Reckless. So Reckless, obviously there's been a lot of rumours and speculation about the team that we can get into later. I think a few people might already know the squad, but for you personally, what were your kind of aims when you were putting together this squad? What did you want to achieve?
Well, as most people know by now, one of our biggest things we were looking for was to build a European team and a team that will actually stick together in the long run, because something that has happened too much in the past and that what's kind of holding the West back, I think in many ways, is that most teams, if not almost every team, is making changes after every year. Meanwhile, the best teams in the world, like SKT and the old Rocks Tigers, they were always sticking together and always being a step ahead. So with rebuilding this roster as a full European one, we are looking to contest perhaps in the long run and once again put Fnatic back on the map.
Okay, and I know previously you've had to be in a situation where you've actually shot called for your team as AD carry, which is not something that every team does. Did you bring someone on board to kind of take that role? I know you've obviously a very new squad, so is it something that you share as a team, or do you have a specific shot caller, which we might not mention the name just yet?
Well, we ran tryouts over the last couple of months, and we generally felt like this year's roster didn't have enough of a balance in terms of like leadership, and many times it would fall down on me or Fabian, and we weren't quite ready to handle it. So with this new roster, we were looking to balance it out a little bit more and have more leadership roles inside the team while still having the individual talent that is necessary. So specifically on the support role and kind of releasing me off my duties, we were looking to bring in someone that brings a pretty solid macro game. And if anything, I think that will help out not only for myself, but for the team in general, because having the support shot calling is very different from having the AD shot calling, because many times it would end up with us playing a very passive game, because from an AD perspective, it's hard to like see what's happening around the map, and we weren't really able to make those productive plays that many other teams were doing.
So you said earlier you've kind of been in this position before of starting a new squad. Is there a different vibe about this squad? Do you think there's like a real glue that you can just go on and like continue for years to come?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, one of the biggest things we're looking for was the European roster. And so far, like the feeling I had meeting the guys yesterday and generally playing together is that it's very season 4-ish. And I think there's a lot of people that still remember the good old days of the old Fnatic roster, and kind of rebuilding that legacy and bringing a similar roster back is a really fun thing. And I'm really looking forward to playing with these guys and seeing what the future brings us.
Well, we spoke a little bit about support, and the next player that we're going to introduce, the second player of your team, is of course the support. Everyone, please welcome Yeses. So, you've been kind of gallivanting across the world coaching Immortals. Like, what kind of an experience was that for you?
It was a good experience. Obviously, I was playing, so coaching was very different, and I had to grow as a person a lot because you have to be mature all the time and like be a good example. So I think overall, it's going to help me as a player as well, like macro-wise, and maybe like being a good example for my teammates as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is there anything that you learned that you could really bring to Fnatic as a squad? Is there anything you can teach the guys from what you learned over there?
I think like infrastructure and like how to set up like proper team practice and just overall how to win. Like, because I mean, on Immortals we didn't go to Worlds, so I kind of learned a lot from those mistakes, or like the mistakes that we did, like the whole process, like the entire season pretty much, and like I know what it takes now to really make that happen.
And you originally played AD carry, I thought, when I was like researching about you. You played AD carry, you played mid. Obviously, Reckless had something to say about that. But you're now playing support, and we've seen this before on Fnatic players. They've moved from AD carry to support. How is that for you? Are you comfortable with the support? Do you really think you can bring something to this team?
I think what I gained from having played AD is, especially with range champions, range supports, you have a big advantage compared to other support mains that maybe excel at, I don't know, melee supports. Because when you're playing AD carry, you're always standing in like max range, like max auto tag range. And whenever I trade with other supports that haven't played AD carry, I can really see like the difference in trading, like, because it's like an AD carry trading against the support main, and you can really tell like that they're not used to trading like auto tag wise and stuff.
And obviously on bot lane together, there's going to have to be a lot of chemistry between you guys. Do you think it's going to be important to like go out, have drinks, relax with each other, really get to know each other so you can perform well in game, Reckless?
I mean, I think it should come natural. And so far with this lineup, and specifically Jessis, it's been really chill. And we know each other from the past, like when he was playing in SK back in Season 4 and I was playing for Fnatic. We were going out every week and we're hanging out. So it's not like weird or anything. We know each other from the past, and it's just generally very natural. So I think in the long run we'll be able to develop quite the synergy together.
And we spoke earlier about shot calling, and you said having a support that's going to be able to shot call. Yes, is that something that you might be comfortable doing, shot calling, or is it something you'll share from that bottom lane?
I didn't used to shot call. I usually brought a lot of leadership in my past teams, but I think after having been coach, I just gained like way more knowledge overall, and I feel way more confident about like macro. So I think just based on like our past scrims and tryouts and stuff, I think I'm gonna be a big voice both in and out of the game.
And I fully agree. Like when we were trying out supports, I think Jesse specifically were bringing like a really unique side of the macro game, and generally like smoothing out the communication and kind of taking control. Perhaps not even like knowingly, it was just kind of happening. And I guess that's something that comes from playing in different teams, being a coach, playing in different roles, and just generally being like a very experienced player. And as I mentioned before, having the balance in the team is really important, and I think he definitely brings that.
And where do you guys kind of see yourselves? Let's fast forward to 2018. Do you think Fnatic can be up there on the big stage? Or like, is that something you're really looking forward to World Championships? Do you think you can make it there?
I mean, the goal for everyone is obviously going to Worlds and performing there, but I think it's way too early for that right now, and our main goal is just meshing well together, and so far it's been like super natural, like meeting the guys last night just going out for dinner. It was just really chill, and I was happy to see so many common faces again.
Yeah, because obviously the first time you guys have really met in person was yesterday, right?
I mean, ever since season 4, probably, yeah. In season 4 we hang out a lot, but then he went to NA, and this year he was with Immortals, so we didn't meet each other until now. But we have a past together, so it doesn't feel weird at all.
And is that something that you're going to do a lot? Like, are you going to meet up often just to try and go out for drinks, go out partying, or is it just going to be practice, practice, practice?
I mean, I think one of the most important things I think these days about like being a team is actually working together. I mean, the game has kind of went into a direction where it's no longer about the individuals and it's much more about how you play together. So obviously, like hanging out and stuff is important, but I think it shouldn't be forced either. You know, you shouldn't force the players to go out together. It should just be whatever they feel like. And so far, like with this roster, it feels like sometimes we just end up talking as a group without it being kind of like a priority or anything. So this natural side is something I didn't really feel this year, for example, and it's probably the biggest reason as to why we didn't make it in the Ant Worlds, even though we had like a pretty decent spring split and generally a start of the summer. So I think in the long run, this roster is definitely gonna be up there if everyone's willing to put down the 110% every day.
And what's your guys' opinions on the bunker here? I mean, is this something you might find yourselves having like a pre-LAN at, for example? It's a pretty cool space, right?
I mean, so far it's been amazing here. I've met a lot of people and I've done a bunch of interviews, and generally it's just been a really chilled atmosphere. Kind of similar to, I'm not sure exactly what this bar is called, Meltdown maybe? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it felt a bit similar, and just generally like, and I enjoy going to these kind of places where I can talk to people and share the same interests. So I like the step that Fnatic is taking with this bunker, for sure.
Yeah, it is a fantastic place. And if you didn't see the video earlier, let's actually show it to you again. Let's have a little tour of the bunker itself. Welcome back to Fnatic Live, where I'm joined by the new top laner of the team. It is, of course, Soaz. Hello. Hello, mate. It's a pleasure to have you here again. Obviously, you were part of Fnatic back in 2014, so I think a welcome back is in order. I think a round of applause from everyone is in order for him being back with Fnatic. How does it feel to be back in Fnatic once again?
I mean, I saw a lot of common faces that I used to see before. So obviously there's a lot of different people know. So yeah, it's Fnatic is more like a family because you see the people that work within Fnatic as like for example when I was in Origin I will not see many people working there or like faces behind the scenes. As in Fnatic I know pretty much everyone. So
And obviously you were on Origin for almost 2 years, and Nico, the coach, was actually there for a little bit as well. Was he one of the big influences for you coming back to Fnatic?
when I knew that I was not gonna resign with Origin, I talked a bit with Nico when I was allowed to, and yeah, I started talking a bit more with him. He really wanted me to try with them, and I knew that Reckless was gonna be a part of it. I didn't know about the rest, but for me it was like a good base at least. If I was gonna join, like having Reckless and I think was a pretty good base. So yeah.
And who do you think your main competition is going into the LCS? I mean, is that grudge match against Origin going to be a big thing?
No, not at all. Competition for me on top. I think, in my opinion, right now the other like the best top last split was for sure Vizicachi. I think Odoamne was like up there, and yeah, I think Vizicachi and Odoamne are both pretty good.
Okay. And our next player, I believe you know a little bit about, and I mean, I was speaking to the guys, I was speaking to the coaches earlier, and they were saying they wanted a strict European side, but I believe there is a little bit of a North American import because this guy that we are going to be introducing has competed in the NALCS, and I believe I can introduce this man to you. He is the jungler of the squad. It's amazing. Obviously a little bit of a play on because you are a European, you're a German man yourself, but was this a big thing for you guys? You were a part of Origin as well, you both came together. Did one of you spring the idea or was it a solid two-man job?
Sol pitched the idea to me actually. He was really interested in actually in Fnatic from the get-go when they kind of introduced their interest in him. And he was just like, might as well have to duo come back together and actually like join Fnatic together.
And what do you think your chemistry is going to bring to the squad? Is that going to be a big thing for Fnatic with you guys? Are you going to be ganking top more often because obviously you guys have played together?
I don't know. I think yeah, maybe we'll see. Me and Source obviously like because we have played together for such a long time already. Like imagining it's almost like 2.5 years now, or 2 years. Like we definitely have synergy coming in. So I think we can play off of that, but I gotta get the other teammates involved too. So.
And what would you say the best and worst things are about being a jungler? Because it can be a lonely game sometimes.
You're top laner?
It depends on what my people are doing, you know. Like if you have swords on top, I think then it's the top laner. But in that case, most cases actually like no. I think the best part about being a jungler is basically being facilitating and actually like enabling everyone to perform to a high standard if you're good enough. And the worst part about that is maybe that you have to be the sacrificial lamb in most cases. So.
And does most communication for ganks and stuff like that, does that come from yourself? Obviously, if we've got shot calling coming from bottom lane, is it different? Are you two communicating more, or is it just a general team thing?
I think in terms of gangs or whatever it is, like the communication obviously comes from everyone, you know. But for me and Source, at this point, it's a almost non-verbal kind of thing where the two of us are. We don't really have to talk anymore about it, whereas like obviously the rest of the team, we still have to create synergy and basically allows us to gel and yeah, that's how it works.
I mean, you pretty much know from the beginning of the game, like you just talk about your lanes assignment because there's no lane swap anymore, so it's really easy from the get-go of the game to know like what's gonna happen. Because before you will have to talk about lane swap, but now it's pretty easy to know what you're gonna do in the game.
What kind of personal goals have you got over the next year? Is there anything you really want to achieve by 2018, like I asked the other guys?
I mean, hopefully get to Worlds this time.
Of course, yeah.
No, obviously everyone want to go to Worlds. And then, I mean, it's not like, for sure right now we're going to think about the season and try to get a top 2, something like this. But yeah, obviously everyone want to go to Worlds, but it's not something that you can think about right now because the season didn't even started yet. So.
No, for me it's similar. Like obviously last year was a disappointment to me because I didn't envision myself not going to Worlds.
Really?
Just a bit. No, I mean, obviously going from second place in Spring Split to actually like going to ninth place and having to play relegations, actually fighting off misfits, was a huge blow to my ego, you know. Because I mean, it's just how it is, you know. But so this year, I definitely want to make it better and actually like allow myself to fulfill my goal that I set myself like 2 years ago when I came back from the NLCS, because obviously it was a tough spot for me to be in, to just say, okay, I'm not going to play for TSM anymore, and basically leave an organization that has provided so much support for me, and then like join Origin and basically allow like having to prove myself again. At that point, I promised myself that I would want to win the USCS before I ever decide to do anything else. So obviously that's a goal in mind that I have for the next 2 years, or at least like the next year. So this is something that I still play on, and going to Worlds instead of playing in relegations is would be good for a change too.
And what's the atmosphere like in the team? I mean, obviously you've not been playing for that long, but is it quite light-hearted? Is there a lot of jokes, or is it very serious?
I mean, we played a bit already for like a week and a half, 2 weeks maybe. The atmosphere is fun. Always when you change on players, you like obviously have to get to know each other and everything. So every time you do this, it kind of starts from zero, and obviously there's a lot more joke, and it's not as serious at the beginning. But as soon as everyone is gonna go to the house, because I was alone at the house with the caps, so everyone is gonna join soon, and from then we are probably gonna be a bit more serious about it.
And you work well with the other two guys. Obviously, we've already met two of the team. We haven't met the fifth member yet, but how close are you with those guys, do you feel?
Well, I knew everyone in the team besides Caps.
Oh no! Someone put it on Reddit. It's like we know who the fifth player is.
You're done. You're done. It's over. Okay, so
We tried.
What he's trying to say is that he obviously has met everyone besides the potential fifth member.
You heard nothing.
I mean, baby faker.
And no, I mean, no, I obviously played with Reckless, for example, at All Stars like last year. So I had a really good impression of him already. That I just, I was really happy that he was going to be part of the roster, and was going to stay on Fnatic, because I have huge respect for him as a player, and obviously he has a huge brand too. So that's something that I'm still having to develop to a certain extent, where I still have to get to that point. As far as Jesse goes, I had some experience with him, but it was obviously outdated because 2014 is kind of a long time ago, and being on SK is kind of different too. You seem so upset.
It's okay. It's all right.
It's fine.
If you want to tweet in,
I tried my best.
like if you want to tweet in, if you have any speculation who you might think the fifth player is, I mean, let us know. Use the hashtag actually, Fnatic Live. If you have any questions for these guys, I'll have them all on the sofa later, so you can ask some questions for those. But yeah, if you think you might know who the fifth player is, feel free to let me know. I'm not sure who it was. But we've had enough from these guys. We've had enough of spoiled announcements from these guys. But we will move on, and we're going to have a look at actually one of the Fnatic products that you can buy here. I believe it's one of the clutch mice.
Straight up slope, he wants to get onto that site. Mid-air headshot. About to walk right into a free kill, and now with the Molotov, and this is perfect.
Fnatic Live here at the Fnatic Bunker. I'm joined once again by Nico and Finley, now the coach and the team manager. Just firstly, for you as the coach, like, how do you prepare for an event? I know obviously the players, they have their rituals, they have their practice, but you personally, how do you prepare for an event? Because obviously picks and bans is a big thing for a coach.
Yeah, so it comes down to a lot of preparation and trying to understand the opposing teams, but it also goes on understanding your own flaws in the teams and individual things and things that we need to keep in mind going into a game, so that in prep meetings before the games we can actually talk about the important subjects and have the vital information going into the games like ready in a way.
Especially going into this next bit, it looks like we're going to have more picks and bans, more bans, sorry. So it's going to really make it interesting if that happens, right? We're already looking to bring in more volunteer analysts and stuff to help Nico with his preparation. So bringing more backroom staff in general is just going to increase our chances to be better prepared for our games.
And Nico, do you ever want to get behind the keyboard and play rather than coach? Obviously, yes, he went out and
you
coached.
don't want to know about his playing career.
Whoa. What did you do with your life?
That's a serious question.
Well, obviously you always itch to play. Like, especially now after Gauntlet, when I went back to Norway, I was sitting for months without actually having a setup able to play, and in the end, I just left my whole family behind and went to Berlin so I could actually have a setup to play the game again. But I don't know, it's actually very rewarding to be a coach and work with the players. And obviously I don't get to play as many games myself, but I get to watch even more maybe than before. And it's a love of the game, and it's a love of the sport, and it's the love of the people around you. So it works out.
Okay, and how about Fnatic's like background staff? Like you spoke to me earlier, you're trying to bring people in, you're trying to really raise the game of Fnatic. Talk me through that.
So right now, today, it's me and Finlay. And then we have our head analyst, Vali, who was with me when I joined Fnatic before Diller left. And then we've put on Cubes for the Challenger team. As well as...
Wally has a bunch of assistant analysts, right, who are like volunteers that help him.
Yeah.
Wally is a god, by the way. This guy finds stuff about the game that you just would never even know. And it's going to give us such a big advantage, I think, when it comes to like really micro things. And he has a really analytical mind, and he's really good at what he does.
So obviously, before we get into the fifth member of the team, which will be the mid laner...
I wonder who that's going to be.
I mean, no one knows yet. I don't think it's been announced. It's not on Reddit or anything. But obviously, Febervan isn't going to be part of the team next season. He was a big part of Fnatic. But is there a message that you guys want to send out? Maybe a thankful goodbye or something?
Yeah, so obviously there should be a bit of explanation here, because probably everybody was expecting that Febby and Reckless would remain in the team. How it ended up working was we were actually looking into options of continuing with Febby. Like, we were quite committed to him still. And we had an idea we wanted to bring in the new mid laner because we saw a lot of potential in him, and I personally had a lot of history with him. And we were looking into possibilities of doing like a Faker Easyhoon or a Pekka Power, something like that, where you actually have two mid laners. But in the end, it was a mutual decision where Febby on his end thought it was best for him to leave and try a new adventure in another team, and we just fully supported him in that. And I think from all of us as Fnatic, we can only thank him for his time and wish him the best of luck. And he's brought a lot of good memories to us.
Yeah, he did a lot for us, you know, going to semi-final of Worlds, winning two splits, all this kind of thing, which coming in as a rookie in his first year, you know, no one would have expected that from him. And he really showed his class, and I hope he carries on, and I hope to see him at the final of Worlds or something like that, or the final of LCS. We're still all really good friends, so there was no love lost there. I mean, the opposite of that.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, now let's introduce the fifth member of the team, which no one has any idea who it's going to be. It is the new mid laner. Please welcome Caps. Welcome. I don't think anyone expected that. Is it nice to be a big surprise?
Yeah, that's great.
I hear that throughout the community, or certainly throughout your team, you're called like Baby Faker. Tell me a little bit about that story.
I don't remember exactly how it started, but I believe it was when we were playing some of the higher elos on EU was playing together. And as many know, when someone does something cool or something fancy, people will say, "Oh, you're Faker." And then because of my age, I think people started saying like, "Oh, baby Faker."
Oh, okay. And is there like any pressure being compared to one of the best players in the world?
I mean, I see it more as a joke right now, but in a year's time, I hope that I don't know if I want to compete with Faker, but I at least hope that I can
Get to that sort of level.
yeah.
Get to the level that he's at. And we spoke about Feb, and obviously he was a big impact as a mid laner, and Fnatic famously has had very impressive mid laners. Is that something that plays on your mind? Do you think you could be the next great within Fnatic?
I really believe that I have the potential to reach glory, but it all comes down to if we have if the whole team can work together, and if we can help each other improve, and so on. So it really depends on how the team will work together, I think.
And what would you say your key responsibilities are in game as a mid laner?
I believe that it's my key responsibility to look to make plays happen around the map, to pressure my lane and be able to move around the map.
And do you ever see yourself on that main stage, maybe against Faker, even with Faker maybe one day? No, we can't break up the squad yet. But yeah, do you see yourself on that main stage? Can you get that far?
I believe so, yes.
That's fantastic. And how closely do you guys work with this team? Are you obviously like getting involved with their practice? Are you making sure they're putting in those hours?
I mean, I know Nico is, and I, we'll be very, very serious. So we're looking to, since we have our challenger team, we can basically, if we want extra scrims, we can just say, "Oh, guys, from 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock at night now, we want to get extra practice in, and then we can get more hours in." Caps probably, I think, plays the game out of any player I've ever played with, plays the game the most. He's sort of been in the house, playing insane amounts of games. He plays more than probably I've ever seen Reckless play, which is saying something, right? He's incredibly driven and incredibly talented, and we have a lot of faith in him.
And Nico, yourself, what are your thoughts? Obviously, we've got the whole squad now, but what are your thoughts on this squad? What do you really think they can achieve now that the whole public has got an idea of like who they are, and where do you think their strengths lie?
So, I think actually something that's coming in good for us this time. Well, I don't know how bad it's been previously, but I think a lot of people are underestimating us right now. So we're coming in as the underdog, at least from the fan side and from teams that maybe didn't have the chance to play us yet. But there's also been some good talks about us, and I think a lot of people see the potential and see the idea that we went in with the team. And I think there's just so much potential. I don't want to go full CLG, but yeah, don't go full CLG. But
I think basically we're really underrated, and I think the fans will think like, oh, they're not that, they don't look that good. But I really think that what we have here is something a really special team, and I think we're going to do a lot better than what most people are thinking out there. I think already within the scene, we're already seen as from like the high yellow players and the other teams. They're already starting to talk that they might be a bit scared of us. So hopefully we'll turn up on stage.
And we can live up to that.
It does look like Faker's actually stood behind you guys. I don't want to warn you. He's here to take your spot. He's heard that you're the baby Faker. So talk me through. There he is. He's letting you know. He says you're not ever going to take my spot. Talk me through, guys, your practice routine then. I mean, do you obviously you scrim and things like that, but do you sit down after? Do you analyze situations with the guys?
Yeah, so probably we're going to go into with a lot of change for this season as we're getting a gaming office, which we're setting up right now, and we're going to have 2 teamsters. So there's going to be a lot more players and there's going to be a lot more staff, but I think the general gist of how the practice works will be somewhat the same, where you have a set amount of hours and a set amount of games, where you do preparation for them and you play them, and then you go through after every game, you go through some analysis, and then maybe do a wrap-up at the end of the game, and you maybe have some meetings before the games, and it's just continuous practice and continuous playing with continuous feedback, I guess. And then trying to make the best out of everybody and trying to enable each and every player as much as we can as a staff and from the players as well. It's like when you're playing in a team and you know you can make another player better, then you'll do everything you can to do that. And it's the same with us.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for your time on the couch, guys. We will now be taking a short break whilst we get the whole team ready on the sofa, but we're going to take a look at another product that's in store. But make sure you guys use the hashtag Fnatic Live to tweet in if you've got any questions for the team, the coaches, or anything like that. Just tweet in hashtag Fnatic Live and we can ask those questions for you. But let's take a look at the dual headset that you can get here in the Fnatic bunker.
Since launching on Indiegogo over a year ago, we've had a really great response from the community. One of the unique things about why we did that was because we wanted to have the control over the products and work directly with our players to deliver great products for esports. I think one of the amazing things about having our community and being so close to our fan base is that ability to get feedback from them and also get their requests. One of the biggest requests that we've had since launching our products was audio. When thinking about headphones and really what we wanted out of a headphone, we looked at everything on the market. We were looking for a headset that would be both great for music and lifestyle type of things, but also you could put on and play at night.
Currently, I have one headset for gaming, I have another headset for just being outside, and I have a third headset for going to the gym.
We wanted to work with a partner who could deliver an amazing soundscape, and we could teach them about gaming. When we met the guys from III, it was exactly who we wanted to meet. They had a modular system which we could use the way we needed to deliver a gaming modular headset. And they also had amazing clout when it comes to the sound and headphones they delivered, because they're in use by some of the best DJs and studio engineers around the world.
We work with the people that we see as like-minded, that also do things they really enjoy and believe in. The products that we do, the people that we work with, is always based on what we like ourselves.
When we look at the way the competitors approach our community and our audience, they very much see this as a stereotype, a kind of gamer who's always in their bedroom, locked up, dark, they need lights.
Crazy aesthetics with LEDs, flashy lights and whatnot, but does that actually make you a better gamer? I personally don't believe so.
They don't understand that everyone who's playing these titles, these esports games, are just normal. They're just like every other kid or man or woman out there. That's why we're so excited to show the world what we've been working on, the Fnatic Dual, the first dual-purpose gaming and lifestyle headset. When we developed the headphones, we were thinking about the entire experience, from opening the packaging to what's inside, and we wanted every part of it to be special and also to kind of go back to the roots of esports a little, which is configuring your own settings, configuring your computer, and in a way, with the modular headphones, the Dual has that. You can configure it for your gaming mode or your on-the-road mode.
I would not be hesitant to take this on the road or going out. That has always personally been an issue with any other gaming headset out there. I go out and look at it like I'm from Star Trek or something. As an esport player, you're primarily interested in the sound insulation and the quality of the sound. And obviously that also includes a great microphone. And I personally think we do have that in Fnatic Gear Dual.
These are probably the best looking headphones that I've seen.
The simplicity of the headset makes it actually attractive in its own manner, because I'm so used to seeing these headsets being this enormous and full of lights.
And I really like them because they look very casual and they're very comfortable.
The Fnatic Dual actually brings just the simplicity of the headset that you need, including the performance. The fact that you're actually able to make this transition between sitting in front of the PC and going outside and wearing it is something that I didn't even think about before. Now, seeing that it's a reality thing is really cool, and I would actually wear that to the gym.
So there you have it. Instead of having to have a gaming headset and a lifestyle headset, in one box, the Fnatic Dual comes with both. And that's why we're super excited to bring it to the community.
Welcome back to Fnatic Live here at the Fnatic Bunker, where I'm joined by the whole League of Legends squad that no one expected whatsoever. It definitely wasn't posted on Reddit. No one knew about them. It was a secret, I tell you. Welcome, guys. It's glad to have all 5 of you here together. I think this is just a bit more of like a relaxed section where I want to ask you some questions. The audience might ask some questions, and just some fun questions, really. Like, who's got the worst dress sense, would you say? Oh yeah, it's getting that serious.
It's definitely not on this so far. It's over there.
Hey, buddy.
Already given, worst dress sense. And can anyone really compete with Reckless's hair, or is it just that pristine all the time?
Wait, do people even hear me? Should I wear it?
I think you mic'd up. No.
No, I'm not mic'd up.
You're not mic'd up. Here's a microphone.
Thank you.
There you go, out of nowhere, like a magician.
I think everyone's pretty handsome in this team, actually.
Oh wow! Yeah, I agree with that. I think you're all handsome fellas. I will look at some questions on social media. Excuse my phone. I've got to get onto Twitter somehow. Lucas asks, how comfortable do you guys feel with each other? Is the team atmosphere friendly, or is it a shared goal between you all?
That would be unlucky.
You want? Yeah.
Do you want it? I can do it.
Yeah, if you want to take just take the mic and then.
What do you want?
Go for it.
Well, if the atmosphere will be shit already, it will be pretty unlucky. So no, but everything is good so far, and yeah, we are looking to start practicing in the gaming house, and hopefully we have a really good season.
Another question from Daniel Buxton. He says, if you won Worlds, what champions would you pick for your skin? Go round for all of you.
Nunu.
Nunu? Me? Okay.
You just giving him a skin. Tough
you know,
question.
like, no, I mean, it's easy, you know, like, but I honestly think that it has to be a champion where you, like, it has to be funny looking, you know. I think Ivern would probably win the bet, you know. So for me, it would be Ivern.
Probably Aurelian Soul, Riven, something like that.
Cannon.
Okay. And for yourself?
I don't know if there's already one, but Yasuo. Because I always int on Yasuo a bit. And it's funny, I like Yasuo.
Someone, hi, I'm Roxas, says, when can we see the team in action? I think this is a good question, Reckless. When are you going to next be
Well, me and
streaming?
Soas are playing next week at All-Stars. Even though it's a bit of a different lineup, I guess that's the earliest of taste you get of this team. But other than that, I don't think we'll be playing any official matches until next year. Yeah, I think our first game is probably going to be in LCS, which is... I'm not aware who we're gonna play, since we didn't attend to the finals. We don't have an assigned opponent. I think yeah, it's gonna be kind of random. But yeah, LCS next year, we're gonna be there, ready.
I hope so.
I hope so as well.
So Vial Anderson says, how did you find Caps, and did you consider anyone else? How did you find this man?
Well, Caps has been high elo for ages now, and I guess Nico specifically thought that he was like the guy we should pick up, so we tried him out, and instantly we had like really good feelings about how he performed and how engaged he was, not only as like on a personal level, but also like the way he communicated and stuff, which is quite surprising at the age he is and how inexperienced he is. So it shows good signs on how much he can grow and what he can become.
Okay, and I'm going to put this to the audience here today as well. Is there anyone that would like to answer some questions? I think someone may have asked if I can borrow a microphone. So what question would you like to ask, young sir?
With the challenger team now, obviously you've got a lot more pressure to perform. Do you